Yo, welcome in, man, to the ChrisBeCappinn Show. Today is October the 15th. Two more W. I keep saying W. I'm so used to capping the WNBA right now, man. My apologies. Two more NBA team previews today. We got the Philadelphia 76ers and the Golden State Warriors. One Eastern Conference team, one Western Conference team. We're going to jump right into it, man. Hit the like button for me as you guys join. And check out the other previews if you guys have not already. I am running a couple days behind, but all the previews are done. I just got to actually produce the content now. So we still got to the end of the week for the season to actually get, for the preseason to end. And then we have basketball, next week. Super excited for that, of course. But we'll jump into Philadelphia and Golden State. The video for the Warriors and the Nuggets will be out tonight as well. Then Raptors, Mavs probably tomorrow, and Pelicans and Hornets probably also tomorrow as well. So we'll finish up, right on time. Let's jump into it. First team we got up is the Philadelphia 76ers. A team that, you definitely didn't want to bet too early unless you like Dunders on Philly, because they had the scare last night with Paul George, hyperextended his knee. You also hear I guess it was quotes, but I got to do some little bit deeper diving in on that. Embiid talking about not playing on the second leg of back-to-backs, maybe for the rest of his career. I'm thinking that that's some kind of joke. He probably just trying to troll, but it could be true. And we'll talk about why in just a second. I want to read into that a little bit more. Anyway, let's jump into the Philadelphia 76ers. This is a team that went 48-35 straight up last season. They were 47-35-1 against the number, in a large part because Embiid missed 2 months with a meniscus tear, and they actually started hooping when Embiid went down. They did make it to the playoffs, of course, losing to the New York Knicks. They ended up winning 2 games, lost 4, 3-3 straight up, 3-3 against the number in the playoffs as well. And they were a plus 2.8 and plus differential. I talked about Embiid tearing his meniscus, missing 2 months. He also had a slew of other injuries, some freak injuries as well, but seems to be the common theme is that Embiid can't stay healthy for a full season. We saw Maxey become an all-star last year. He averaged 26 points, won most improved player, and became an all-star for the first time. And because they had so much cap space, shout out to Daryl Morey, just being an excellent GM, they were able to go out and get PG along with some other assets on this team as well. You can see that Andre Drummond ended up coming over from the Chicago Bulls. You get some veteran depth in Eric Gordon, who can, have his good days where he can shoot the ball from the three-point line still. Reggie Jackson comes over, another veteran guard from the Denver Nuggets. Then you get Caleb Martin from Miami, who I think is, humongous for this team. And you get Wabusili from the German team that the French. He played for the German team, French team. He played for the French team. That's who he played for. For people who don't remember him, if you watch the Olympics, he hooped for them, played really, really big for them. And that's what they need. When I look back a little bit at last year, where the Sixers fell short, a lot of it was, believe it or not, the effective field goal percentage on the offensive end. They actually shot just 53.3% effective field goal percentage, which was 25th out of the 30 teams in the NBA. And they struggled to contain teams on the offensive glass. Opponents had an offensive rebound percentage that was fourth best in that department. So they really struggled in that area. They also struggled to shoot the ball, and Nick Nurse teams can do that. They were 19th in both above the break 3 frequency and above the break 3 accuracy. So they'll need to improve that a little bit. And it feels like they do kind of have those. Outside of the additions that you guys see on the screen here, they also re-signed Kyle Lowry, so even more veteran depth. KJ Martin is still there. Tyrese Maxey got his contract extension. And you still got Kelly Oubre Jr., which, this team is stacked, man. Paul George is already a great addition. He's going to miss some time probably with that hyperextension of his knee, but this team really has a lot of depth. They lose Nicholas Batum. Mo Bamba leaves as well. Nicholas Batum go back to the Clippers. Mo Bamba leaves. I think he went to the Clippers as well. Buddy Hield, of course, is in Golden State. D'Anthony Milton's in Golden State. Campaign is on the Knicks. And Paul Reed, I think, went to Detroit, I want to say. So you see the strength of schedule for this team. They have the 10th most easiest schedule in the league. 12 games with the rest advantage, 11 games without it. They do have a second second most back-to-backs with 15 this season. So for Philly, I mean, it's really championship or bust. I think they are a top 3 team in the East. Granted, with the healthy Embiid, of course, and with the depth that they have now, in addition to Paul George. However, the injuries always scare me a little bit with Embiid, man. It's always something. It doesn't seem like he can finish a full 7-game series if it goes that way. But like I said, they've kind of pushed all their chips into the middle of the table. The interesting quote that I found from Embiid is, we got to do whatever it takes to make sure that in the postseason I'm healthy. This year, there's no agenda. There's no All-Star. There's no All-NBA. There's no none of that. Whatever it takes to make sure I get to that point, end quote. And that's Embiid just talking about, taking days off if he needs to. Whatever needs to be done, he's willing to do it so that they can ultimately hoist the championship. I do think that, Maxey will probably be a little bit better than he was even last season. I think the role players will potentially take some time to gel at the beginning of the season, learning their new roles. And you got Nick Nurse, putting in new schemes as well. But I'm hesitant to actually do anything with this team, even though, a healthy Philadelphia 76ers probably, competes a little bit with Boston, in my opinion. Without them being healthy, I absolutely don't think so. You see the championship odds, you can get them at plus 1,000 on FanDuel. And these odds just changed because of the Paul George news yesterday. To win the Atlantic Division, they were down to plus 375. It's back up to plus 550. The regular season win total drops from 53.5 down to 50.5 with the news of, I think this was all based on the Paul George news. I checked it last night. It was 53.5. Start money coming in on the under. And I think that's the way I would look as well. Ultimately, can they win 51 games? Absolutely. Should they? Yeah, they should. But I mean, that's with Embiid being healthy. We got to see how healthy he's going to be for this team as well. So definitely no bet on the Philadelphia 76ers. They kind of scare me with Embiid's health, if I'm being honest. Let's transition over to the Western Conference, go to the Bay. We got the Golden State Warriors on deck next. This Golden State Warriors team is going to look a little bit different. I mean, the core is still the same, of course, but they're getting old, man. Draymond and Steph are still there. Of course, Klay is not. Last year, they won 46 of their 82 games, so 46-37 straight up. They were 42-38-3 against the number. They missed the postseason due to that loss to the Sacramento Kings. They got smoked by Sacramento in that game. That was a game I think Klay shot 0 for 12 or 0 for 9 or something like that, didn't score a point, and it ended up being his last game. They lost that game by 24 points, though. They did finish the season +2 in net rating. They were 9th in offensive rating, 15th in defensive rating, so about middle of the pack. And, everything kind of was left on the shoulders of Steph. He shot the ball really well, 41% from the three-point line. But that was about it. More times than not, Klay, CP3, Draymond they look old. They look a step slow. You got Draymond, who missed 27 games with the combination of injury and suspension. He failed to make any all-defensive team for the first time since the 2020 season. And Kuminga and Pozinski actually were the two players, in my opinion. Moody played well at times as well, but Kuminga and Pozinski were the guys who actually made, you could say leaps and some solid contributions. So then you get Klay, who leaves for the offseason, and they replace Klay with Buddy Hield. In my opinion, I don't think there's too much of a downgrade. Body of work for a career, absolutely Klay's 10 times better than Buddy Hield. But current stage, even Klay throughout the first couple games in Dallas, granted he's not playing with Luka, but he's really struggling to shoot the ball even in his first couple games. They bring in slow-mo Kyle Anderson as well, which I think will be a addition for them as well. And D'Anthony Milton kind of feels like the guy that's being overlooked just a tad bit. Before we get to D'Anthony Milton, let's go back to Wiggins. Big disappointment last season, and rightfully so, because he had a lot of stuff going on off the court. I'm hearing rumblings that they could potentially be looking to trade Wiggins before the All-Star break. They need that like a legit third scorer, and they're not sure if it's going to be Kuminga or not. He has the closest opportunity. He has the biggest opportunity, I think, to be so. But we'll see how that goes. They were also trying to ship Wiggins throughout the offseason as well. The Warriors they were going out to Paul George, trying to get him to land in Golden State. They also went out to Lauri Markkanen. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, but they didn't land either one of them, of course. So they re-signed Steph, you give him the bag, and you lose Chris Paul. He goes to San Antonio. Dario Saric goes to the Nuggets, and Klay Thompson, of course, to the Mavs. Coach Steve Kerr has shared that he wants this team to shoot more threes this year, even more than they shot last year. Trace Jackson Davis, I think, is somebody that's going to play a much bigger role this season after, really kind of shining in the limited minutes that he got last season. And going back to DeAnthony Melton, I think he's absolutely underrated in my book, both on the defensive end, and he can shoot the three. So the Warriors, they don't even have a starting lineup yet. Coach Kerr keeps talking about he's tried a lot of different things in the preseason so far, trying to figure out who's going to replace Klay there. I think it's going to be DeAnthony Melton just because he can stretch the floor, and just because he's a really good defender as well. So I know he is in the front runner for that position. Sounds like they want Buddy Hield to come off the bench, which makes a ton of sense to me. Somebody that can, be a plug and play type guy. Could potentially, still finish the game if he's cooking, but defensively, Buddy Hield, he could be a liability too. Nick Nurse had him in the doghouse last year because when his shots aren't falling, he could be a no-show. So it's hard for me. It is hard for me, like somebody that's watched the Warriors, their dynasty, to just write them off with Steph and Draymond and what they're capable of. But unless they bring, in my opinion, in a solid number 3 option that's going to be consistent, I don't think a championship is in question for this team. You can see now, like the odds for, and I don't think I'm saying anything too crazy, but the odds for them to make the playoffs, you can get the Warriors at -110 because they missed it last year. And I do love that they have a nice, solid, deep rotation as far as role players. So who's going to be consistent? Like I said, you got Brzezinski, you got Anthony Milton, you got Moody, you still got a lot of really good role players on this team, but who's going to be that consistent basis, and what's that rotation going to look like for Coach Steve Kerr? I think those are going to be the interesting things. So what we know right now, I think I do want to bet the Warriors to make the playoffs. I think they can at least get there, but any kind of setback with Steph, and those chances are probably done. You can see that I think they're third in the division, in the Pacific Division, with the Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings, and Lakers, Clippers, Kings, Warriors. I'm missing a team, but they're third. To win the Pacific Division, you can get them at +500. I don't think that they win the division either. But I do think that they could potentially get to their regular season win total. 44 seems about right to me. So no bet for me right now on the Golden State Warriors. I think if I had to bet it, probably look to the under, being honest, on the regular season win total. The West is going to be tough, man. I really think the West is going to be really, really tough. And I think this could come down to the last few games, in my opinion, as well. We'll see how much Draymond has left in the tank, but he seems like he's kind of, turning the page and, just a year older. But I don't want to write the Warriors off quite yet, man. I don't want to do it. So that'll be it. I'm done talking about the Warriors as I kind of talk it out with you guys. Resources that I use to handicap, sports in general are here for people that are interested. Definitely use those referral codes if you're interested in checking out either one of them. And that'll be it for this one, man. If you enjoyed the previews, as always, hit the like button for me on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Bet responsibly, as always. And we got more previews coming. So be on the lookout for those, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one.